August of '98, and here comes a racing game spin-off. Bomberman Fantasy Race, released for the PlayStation in all regions. We have another animated intro. That space bus isn't the same one as the one in Super 4, but we still have White and Black dozing off inside. Wait, is that Muscle Bomber? And Dave Bomber? They're from Super 5. But we put them back in prison at the end. How did they get out? Did they break out again? Then how come our heroes aren't trying to catch them again? Did they finish their time in prison? Oh well, they're just cameos. It is a racing game spin-off, so you might want to argue it's a separate universe or something. After all, Mario Kart never explains how Bowser is invited to join in. There's no story, so you just assume it's a separate thing. But we do have a story for Fantasy Race. This is a giant space station in the shape of Bomberman, built by Dr. Ein and maintained by these little dudes called the Petit Rescue 7. It's called Bomberman Fantasyland and is the largest amusement center in the galaxy. Ein hopes it will bring peace to the universe somehow. The largest event in the center is the Fantasy Race, held every 4 years, and Bomberman is invited to the 10th anniversary. Wait, 10 isn't divisible by 4, so why would there be a race on the 10th anniversary? Bomberman isn't interested in participating at first, but then sees burglar in the list of participants and decides to investigate. But the character list says White and Black are here to get rich, so there's an internal contradiction for you. Bagura, meanwhile, is hoping to win the prize money so he can fund his conquest of the universe. He must have recovered really quickly from his defeat in Hero, then. Keppo is back again as a menu icon. Pretty Bomber is here, a new character named Mac Bomber is playable, as well as Higgigrunt number 15, localized to Mech Bomber 15 in English. Also, both the story and character sheet tell us Ein is the one who invented Bomberman. What? This is just 2 years after they finally confirmed in Doremi Fantasy that Mitsumori is the one that built him. So what's the deal here? Did Ein just wipe everyone's memories so he could replace him? I do not trust this guy. Either way though, Mario has an established universe and in Bomberman nothing is set in stone. Then how come you're coming up with in-universe explanations for how the racing game spin-off ties into everything? Enough ranting. We have 6 playable characters, Bagura is playable for the first time, and the game has more of a career structure, in that we participate in races, win prize money, and use that money to unlock more races, buy single-use items, bet in 2-player races, and buy better mounts. Speaking of which, we do not race in carts. Instead, we race while riding Louis and Tiras, the only other time the Tiras appear outside of Saturn. The different colored ones have different stats on speed, handling, jumping, and such, and the more expensive ones have better stats overall. Generally, Louis have better handling while Tiras can run faster. Also, picking up an egg on the track will make Louis go faster for a while, but Tiras will get brief invincibility. Okay, the handling is tricky to get used to. Even after playing it for quite a while, I still don't feel comfortable with it. The game does set itself apart from other kart racers though. Our mounts can jump, and not only that, they can jump up against a wall and bounce off of it. Something I don't think I've seen much. I'm no racing game expert. Also, jump off of one of these pads on the wall to get a boost. Oftentimes, multiple boost pads link together, so make sure you get the timing right, otherwise you fall on your face. We can, at any time, dash, which uses up stamina. Stamina regenerates by not dashing, so there's some resource management involved. And we can, at any time, use bombs. Either drop them behind you, or charge them to throw them forward. Or charge them a little bit to hit yourself with it for a small boost. There's a lot going on here, and I still haven't mentioned the items. Most of them affect your bombs. Rocket bombs serve as sort of a red shell. Line bomb allows you to throw 3 bombs at once. Power bomb makes your explosions larger. Remote control is kinda useless here. Wing allows you to glide for a while. Time stop freezes other players for a few seconds. You can get a fake item block to place somewhere, but you might also get a skull, which mostly affects your bombs, which is harmless, but it can also reverse your controls. So you grab an item and suddenly your controls are reversed. Always a joy. And then there's pink poop. Your mount will stop to poop. Hey, at least the poop is happy. Some items you can only get by buying them before the race, such as the skates for some speed, a small heart for stamina, and a big heart with which your health points will remain the same. Phew. There are only like 8 tracks. On each we go for 3 laps. Sometimes there are shortcuts and you need to jump off the track at the right place to reach them, but often you fall off and then the Petite Rescue 7 need to rescue you. We have our standard raceway, a beach with a pirate ship, mountains, a fun variety, and the Bomber Castle. Oh, the Bomber Castle. It's the only one that recycles Bomberman music that I could tell. These corners, man. But really it doesn't matter too much how well you do. There is significant rubber banding going on. Meaning, if you mess up in the first 2 laps, usually you can catch up to the NPCs, but if you do really well, you never get ahead of the NPCs that far. They're always right behind you and ready to pass you if you slip up even once. So at least for me, the game consisted of hoping to get a time stopwatch near the end of the race to pass everyone. After beating the 7th stage, we get the credits, with some more animated shenanigans. Oh, and here's Buglar with 2 G's instead of Burglar like in the manual. Then we can beat all the tracks again in mirror mode and unlock all the mounts, and reach the 8th final track, but there's not much else to mention. There is another cutscene showing White and Black got rich, though I'm not sure there are other cutscenes for the other characters. You can bet your money in 2-player races if both of you have a save file. I do like the concept here. As a kart racer, it really does set itself apart from the gazillion other Mario Kart clones with the mounts and their abilities. I think if they improved the controls, they could really make something out of this. We'll just have to see if they do that. September of '98, and we have the new Bomberman Complete Encyclopedia, with guides, strategies, and enemy names for a whole bunch of games, and some dev interviews, with translations on the Shrine Place. Game director Fujiwara and character designer Mizuno talk about standardizing Bomberman's design for Super 2. Fun stuff. They're asked about rejected characters, and Fujiwara says he once asked Mizuno to draw Ultraman's parents to help visualize what Bomberman's parents might look like. What? He goes on to say one person might say Bomberman is a human while another might say he's a robot. And hey, everyone's opinion is valid and nothing is set in stone. I understand the sentiment, but even just recently in Fantasy Race, you said I'm built Bomberman, so really nothing has contradicted him being a robot. And now even that isn't clear according to the devs. Then why do the games sometimes reference each other? Bomberman isn't consistently a robot, except that he sort of is. He consistently uses bombs, except when he doesn't. Even the degree of consistency is inconsistent. Bomberman has ascended to a whole new level right here. It is December, and we have Bomberman for the PlayStation, released in all regions. Yep, just Bomberman. Not to be confused with Bomberman for NES or Bomberman for PC Engine or TG16. Thankfully, this was given a different title in North America, Bomberman Party Edition. Might help distinguish it from the others. We have an animated intro with the World Bombers from Super 3 and the 4 Bomber Kings from Super 4, appearing in English here. This game is mostly a remake of the NES game. You can play the campaign with the classic graphics and sound. Unfortunately, we don't click around when trying to go diagonally anymore. Oh, and Bakugan Cross Attack sounds like a machine gun. But of course, we can also play it with redone graphics. Mechanically, it's the same, no kick or punch or anything, only what was in the NES game. But we do have new colorful tile sets, sprites, some short skits with White and Black after every 10 levels, and a few new extensions of the Bomberman main theme that I've been using as tangent music occasionally. Hey, remember Parse? Cecil the Tiger? How's about we call him Tiglon in English instead? When we beat the campaign, no matter the graphic style, we go straight to credits with some very basic shenanigans. No story here or in the manual, he doesn't turn into Lode Runner at the end. Just a basic rendition of the NES game. The multiplayer has a lot more going on though. We have all the options of the Revenge Carts, Victor minigame, Yo-Yo in this case, specifying which power-ups we want, a gazillion stages, and 3 difficulties? Yeah, you can sort of decide how complex the game should be. In Beginner, we only have multicolored bombers. If you kick 2 bombs together, they turn into a skull bomb, or dangerous bomb, that explodes beyond the cross shape. In Normal, the world bombers are playable. Remember they had names back in Super 3? Well, how's about we localize those original names they already had just to confuse people some more? Remember Bomber Chun? It's Bomber Chen now in English. Bomber Uho is now Barbarian Bomber, Bomber Kid is now Bomber the Kid, and Metal Bomber has been renamed to Punk Bomber. I'm sure all the music fans are fine with these names being used interchangeably. Normal also gives us the Louis, with the same colors and abilities as in Super 3. Advanced difficulty has the 4 Bomber Kings and Great Bomber playable with their special abilities. And Honey and Kotetsu, everyone's 2 favorite mascot characters. And we have 5 new animal mounts. Dox runs into blocks, pushing them back. Coney can line bomb and protect you from bombs from behind. Pytera can eat bombs and spit them back out. Drake can jump and crash into other players, and Simeon can lift and place soft blocks. You can use that to trap people. So overall, not too much new stuff, nothing too ambitious. Just a remake of the NES game with an extensive multiplayer. Nothing inherently wrong with that, but my journey here is focusing more on the campaigns. Speaking of which, Bomberman Quest, released on Christmas Eve of 1998 for the Game Boy Color in all regions. Once upon a time, Bomberman was transporting captured monsters to Planet Bomber when suddenly his ship was attacked by 4 mysterious lights that stole his 4 engines. His ship crash lands on a nearby planet that remains unnamed, and all the monsters escape and start harassing the population. Thus, Bomberman, after Awakening, needs to recapture the monsters and fight the 4 commanders to retrieve his engines so he can return home. Wait, the town already put a sign next to the ship? Oh look, Keppo is here to save our progress. An overworld consisting of squares, the map screen, these houses, a shovel, a flute, other items that we collect to progress and get new abilities, dungeons with bosses, Awakening. Yeah, this one really should be called Bomberman's Awakening. Peacetown has our ship and Keppo where we can save, the bomb shop where we can bring components to get new types of bombs, the card collector guy who we only need at the end, this house, the library. The guards won't let us go everywhere, so we start in the field zone. Bomberman interacts with the monsters quite a bit. We've seen him talking in Saturn Fight and a little bit in Hero, but here we see a whole new side of him. More on that later. So there's usually 1 monster on every screen. Some are in tunnels, these stairs, man, or in the clouds. We only need to beat them once, but we can return and fight them again for some health if we need it. Oh yeah, we have a health bar again. Our standard bombs explode in a cross shape, but there are other bomb types to unlock, like flak bombs that hit enemies in the air, bombs that drift to the right or left when thrown, landmines, lots of options here. And we can upgrade each bomb type individually with fire-ups, which are limited, so choose them wisely. The earlier monsters are the generic enemies we've had since the NES game. Oh, and O'Neill was supposed to be an onion? I always thought he was a water droplet. Eventually, we find the first dungeon and fight the Water Commander. Gotta say, the Commander's layer music could pass for Zelda music. Water Commander tries to hit on us, and we're having none of it. The layers all have the same music, but the bosses actually have different tracks for each one. With the first commander defeated, we get our first engine back and can move on to the Forest Zone. Here's where we see some new enemies, each usually taking some kind of trick to beat, like this mole who digs around everywhere. This bat wants Bomberman's blood. Wait, Bomberman has blood? Electro Commander is kind of a brat. After each boss, we can go to the previous boss's room to find Mommy? And later Louisa? Daryl? You know, from Saturn Fight? Well, gee, it's a good thing Saturn Fight wasn't Japan exclusive or anything, or people might be confused as to who these guys are and how Bomberman seems to already know them. There's some fourth wall breaking going on. Daryl saying she's the star of the game, Mommy saying she's a secret character. Mommy and Louisa say they want to fight us as a friendly duel. Okay, so I don't want to kill them. Oh dear. I murdered a toddler today. On to the beach zone, where we have the bubble-spitting crab, and eventually the layer leading to Hurricane Commander, or Hurricommander in English. The dialogue between Bomberman and the enemies normally ranges from silly to just generally confrontational. But when Hero Commander tries to intimidate him, Bomberman is all, "It's you who should be scared. I'd give up if I were you. Now give me that shuttle engine." Ugh, don't mess with Bomberman. Hero Commander is annoying to deal with since he teleports away when you throw a bomb at him, but if you place them instead, you can get him. In the desert zone, you stay away from my pot! Yeah, Bomberman, stay away from this guy's pot. He needs it. The wings don't give us infinite flight like in Pocket, but we can fly pretty far. We trek through the desert and the Commander's lair where we fight Pyro Commander. With all 4 engines collected, we can take off and return to Planet Bomber. But is that really the end? Okay, the credits tip us off that we need to capture all the monsters for the good ending. So we go and get the rest of the monsters, collect the 3 trading cards of White, Black, and Honey to get the Robot Bomb, later called RC Bomb, that we can drive around. So that's cool. Okay, all the monsters captured, let's take off again. This time, somebody gets in our way. It is the true final boss, Chaos Bomber. Not bad for a little kid. Who are you calling a kid? You want me to throw you in a cell too? You're no match for my chaos power. Chaos power. I'm not afraid of you. Take your best shot. Bomberman doesn't take crap from anyone. So we fight Chaos Bomber somewhere in the middle of outer space. Bomberman's a robot, so he doesn't need to breathe, but he did need a scuba set to go underwater in this game, and he did have blood apparently. So wouldn't the blood expand with a lack of air pressure? It's not a continuity thing, I'm just looking at one game here. Eventually, Chaos Bomber becomes a black orb, I guess, and with that behind us, he finally continues his journey home. The end. Oh, and if we go back, then Pump or Pompu is jumping up on the ship. Remember from Saturn Fight? Wow, certainly a Zelda clone, but honestly the formula works surprisingly well with Bomberman. It was a bit on the short side though. There is a battle mode where we can use all the items from the campaign. Also, winning or losing multiple times will morph you. Losing turns you into Chibi Bomb, or Bomb Jr., Centipede Bomb, or Bomber Worm, and Slime Bomb, while winning turns you into Bomb Fighter, Bomb Soldier, and Bomb Emperor. And what a year for Bomberman! We had an NES remake with focused battle mode, a more standard game, a turn-based strategy game, a racing game, a 3D platformer with Mario references, and a Zelda clone. Bomberman is everything and nothing in 1998.